And here I am streaming on YouTube and just realized I have not yet set up Twitch as I like to do. So, sleepy. Okay. Hi, Lou. Hi, baby. You coming to bug me just as I start streaming? Because that's what you do. Hi. Hi, Lou. Hi, my girl. You're such a dog. You're such a dog. Hi. Hi. Hello, baby. Hi. Not even early. It's just morning. Morning. Writing. Ugh. Just a 500-word goal. Slow and tired this morning. Back hurts. I can't spell morning. Damn it. Yeah, something's going on with my O key, my keyboard. That's gonna fall off soon, I think. I meant to get a new computer in October when the whole Windows 10, 12 thing was going down, but I don't have money. I have no money this year. I'm thinking I'm gonna go and donate plasma today at BioLife and get a whole $100 for some of my blood, at least some of the stuff in it. So yeah, that's my big plan for the day, is getting to BioLife and opening up a vein and do a physical examination and all that. So yay. Definitely moving slow this morning. Tired as hell, fresh out of bed, let the dog out. I got some oatmeal. If y'all don't mind me eating on camera, but I'm gonna build up my strength. I might be tired just because I didn't have dinner last night. I've been kind of wiped. I'll be back. Need coffee. Yeah, what's up, Connie? She's been missing. Meow. Oh, tired and slow. That's how I feel. Tired and slow this morning. I figure I'm good for at least 500 words this morning. Alright. Oh, let's grab a keyboard, because my computer keyboard is, I don't know, the O key. Yeah. the O key is messing up on me, like there's something stuck under it, or I broke a piece of the plastic, and I've had this happen before with both M and N, so I'm about to lose the O, I think. That's how old my laptop is. But that's a success. If I type that much, I must be doing something right. And it's good that it's the actual letters and not just the WASD that's wearing out. A kitty cat. Alright. Oh, I gotta work on better posture in this chair. Back hurting. Sleep was moderate. I woke up at like 4:44, which ordinarily would be like when I would just get up and start working, but I decided to just close my eyes and get back to sleep. Tired. Even went to bed like early at a decent time last night, so I guess just wiped out. Let's see, King Gregarious is back on his throne because he insisted he was fine. And this is a time lapse from my previous chapter, so this is the next day. But can I start with the words the next day at the beginning of a chat? Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it. Next day. How do I want to say this? On the morrow. No. After the morning light had blazed into the full the next day, after the morning light had blazed into the full luminescence. Yeah, I knew that was wrong as I was going. Luminescence. Luminance. Yeah, let's go with luminance. Blaze into the full luminance. Next day, after the morning light had blazed into the full luminance. Next day, after the morning light had blazed into the full luminance. Morning light had blazed into full luminance. That implies noon without having to say, it was noon. Yeah, so, period, and then, there. That's a poetic, roundabout way of saying it's the middle of the day, without saying it's the middle of the day. And without having to repeat the word day. The royal court was still in his robe. loosely over his bare chest, and I say light sleeping pants. Like, I feel weird putting in the word pajamas. Light sleeping pants. Is half clean shaven, smooth as silk. Coated. The other half slathered. Slathered? Creme. Why does it have to go creme? Why do I need a little eh on the top? Creme. It's not that kind of creme. Okay, let's are we still gonna keep the little umlaut? Whatever? No. No. To thee I say nay. Slathered in shaving cream over stubble. His elderly father, the king, no, his elderly father, King Gregarious, sat upon his throne with his cheeks tight, raised by the pressure, the smile under his long mustache. I'm going to be overly descriptive right here. All white mustache, buried. Although he was bent and tired, he had insisted he was well enough for his royal duties. Despite his illness, I hate doing all this, like setting up the cast. Sat his Queen Gwendolyn doing her best to look serious so as not to encourage the dislodge the laughter waiting to burst forth from her husband, her spouse, her royal spouse. Sure. This is all going to get caught in the edit. Breakfasto. Hello, meal. Behind them at their stations stood Lady Isolde and Sir Albrecht. Both looked severely down at Garrett and especially Arista, who stood defiantly beside him. Sir, no, Lord Albrecht. Albrecht looked tired, like he always did these days. With a resigned melancholy. He spoke for the king. Gregarious' cherry red cheeks look fit to burst. Jovially, which would sully the seriousness of the situation. He sighed. Laying the full weight of the day upon him. It's halfway to my goal this morning. Awesome. King Gregarious is back in his throne because he insisted he was fine. It is noon the next day. Try to think of filler to explain previous day, perhaps include a comment by Arista about Garrett's stubble, perhaps allude to her claiming Garrett for most of the afternoon, ensuring that the servants heard them just. So that word when we get back to Jocelyn. Talking about how you while away the evenings with their teenagers? No. Can't stop talking about how you is that too inappropriate for a lady in waiting? And my coffee done cold. This is messing me up. Okay. Yeah, I like what ChatGPT just like supplied for me. It kind of filled in some gaps, moved things along. I'm really tempted to copy paste, put that in. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that. I'm certainly gonna want to embellish. Take some of the poetry out. I feel like it moves things along a little bit better. Yeah. All right, and go with this. It just has to throw in the Luminous because I used that earlier. Boom. Yeah. Oh, freshen up my cup. Oof. Damn you, leg. Oh, why are you still sleeping? Okay. So that actually, yeah, got me over a bit of a hurdle. Set of state. Condition. Gotta dumb some of Garrett's speech down a little bit. He doesn't speak all that eloquently, at least not compared to like other nobles. Oh. Hey Riz, you slept down there last night? Hey buddy. Hi buddy. Hi dude. All right. Would she be standing right behind Arista? through. The fuck? Okay, pop that in. Okay, that's $599. I did use ChatGPT to help. I didn't generate anything with it, but here are some of these breaks. Actually, get rid of faintly. She seemed disappointed. Jocelyn was not present. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Hey. What's up? Understood. What was mine to claim? What was mine alone to claim? It sounds the same. Yeah, it's cool. Court tittered nervously. Isolde did not. No. It's get rid of that entirely. Yeah. Joy. Oh, the boxes are for the raid party. Okay. Cool. That's interface stuff I'm not familiar with. Let's see. By noon the following day, Garrett stood in the royal court. He was still in his robe, loosely belted over his bare chest and sleeping trousers. One side of his face was clean-shaven, smooth as silk, the other remained stubbornly lathered in drying foam. King Gregarious sat upon his throne, cheeks lifted high beneath the sweep of his white mustache, a smile straining for release. Though bent and pale, he had insisted he was well enough to resume his duties. Beside him, Queen Gwendolen composed herself with a visible effort, determined not to give in to the laughter trembling in her shoulders. Behind the throne stood Lady Isolde and Lord Albrecht. Neither smiled. Albrecht looked as he often did these days, drawn thin by responsibility. When he spoke, it was with the slow, resigned gravity of a man accustomed to cleaning up other people's disasters. "We have heard from the butler," he said evenly. "Explain in your own words what transpired this morning." Garrett glanced sideways. Arista stood beside him, immaculate. Her gown was perfectly arranged, her dark hair brushed to a silken fall over her shoulders. She returned his old stare without blinking, chin lifted just slightly higher than etiquette required. He sighed. "Yesterday afternoon," Garrett began carefully, "Arista made mention of my stubble. It seems I've grown accustomed to rougher standards." It seems it had become an irritation to her. Which, that line is hilarious if you've read the first book. At this, Arista's posture softened, barely. "I thought it might please her," he continued, "to see me properly groomed." For once. "So, this morning, while she was away, I summoned a servant to shave me." "While she was at the shoreline," Isolde repeated coolly. "As she does each morning, I presume." Each? Yeah, let's go with each. Arista's eyes flashed but did not answer. She simply set her jaw tight. Waiting in accusation. Garrett pressed on. She returned sooner than expected. And I expected. When she entered the chamber, she saw a man holding a blade to my throat. The king made a strangled noise somewhere between laughter and alarm. The servant dropped the razor immediately, Garrett continued. He fled, Arista pursued. That's when she stormed in. Servant dropped the razor immediately. Garrett continued. And fled. Arista pursued. With the blade, Albrecht replied. With the blade, Garrett confirmed. Queen Gwendolyn pressed her lips together. Miri and I... and after her, Garrett continued, gesturing toward the cat girl among the staff. Miri straightened at once and nodded solemnly. We caught her before she reached the lower stairs. I explained that the man was not assassinating me. A ripple of restrained amusement moved through the court. She has only ever seen me shave with a knife beside a stream, Garrett added, with measured patience. It did not occur to her that in more civilized settings one occasionally entrusts the tasks to someone else. And that, he finished wearily, motioning to the half-lathered ruin of his face, is how I came to stand before you in this condition. State? It's Garrett, so he's a prince, but I don't like him to talk too royal. I like him to be very basic. Like, Garrett is supposed to be a very guttural, earthy type of character. There was a tremor in King Gregarious' shoulders, then another. At last the effort of restraint failed him. Laughter burst from him in bright, rolling peals that echoed off the vaulted ceiling. My son, he gasped between breaths, undone by soap and suspicion. The court tittered nervously. Isolde did not. All right. Albrecht only groaned. Isolde did not. Albrecht only groaned. Wearily. Based on the volume of gossip circulating the corridors, she said sharply, this is not the only matter requiring restraint. The staff report you two spent the better part of yesterday behaving like unsupervised adolescents. A ripple passed through the chamber. Arista's gaze sharpened to something cold and luminous. I was ensuring, she said calmly, her voice carrying farther than it should have. Farther than it should, that certain entities understood what was mine alone to claim. Her eyes moved across the gathered nobles. She seemed disappointed Jocelyn was not present. Her eyes moved across the gathered nobles. Then appeared disappointed Jocelyn was not among them. Feels a little better. Giselle and Elaine, however, were. Each caught the meaning. Causing them to subdue their own laughter. A cruel look flashed across Elaine's eyes. Why are you looking all puffy and beardy? What's up, Riz? Donation appointment. And I changed that. I was going to donate plasma at 8:30 this morning and was like, screw that. I don't want to get moving that quick, that early. Dismiss. All right. So where am I at in my outline so far? I've done 636 words. I was shooting for 500. So proud of me. Okay. Okay, so I'm almost out of my intro into the climax. So next is just a little bit more. I was groggy and weary when I started this morning, but I'm actually kind of, I don't know, getting jazzed up on it. I think y'all popping in helped a little bit. Queen Gwendolyn turned to the side. Try and quell Gregarious's. Queen Gwendolyn turned to the side to try and quell Gregarious's. As Lady Isolde spoke. Her voice was higher and more pressing than the tight, white, frilled collar she wore. Like, I always imagine Lady Isolde wearing like one of those neck pieces that's like laced up, so she's always got her chin up because she can't even put it down because it's that stiff and tight on her. She addressed Garrett first. using indiscriminately. Statements. She huffed in disappointment at I use gaze too much. Raising an irritation. Voice raising an irritation. Raising in volume. Perhaps only to try to drown out the king's chortling. Ha! It is a word. Now I make sure it means what I think it means. Synonyms. Giggling, gurgling, chuckling, laughing, tittering. Damn. My dictum is strong. It's a big dictum. I've got a very big dictum. Not to brag, my dictum is huge. I wonder if dictum means what I think it means. All right. See in there, bam, steely gaze. No. Okay. Royce, voice raising in volume and perhaps only to drown out the king's chortling. Those have to be next to each other, which means the action has to go prior to that, so everything stays connected. Like this. Language is so math. Like, language is logic, and logic is essentially just mathematics. So everything has to go into everything else. Like, every sentence you write has to be a natural byproduct of the sentence that came before it. Turning her steely gaze toward the cat girl. And impulsive antics. What you doing, Mo? Oh, I still gotta feed my animals. Alright, I'll be right back. Yeah, the coffee is lukewarm. My dog needs her pills. My bunny needs his veg. Hey, buddy. Yeah, you just need a big box. It's good. It's good. I got to pick you up some cilantro, don't I? Yes, I do. Yes, I do, my little bunny man. Alright. Start with the lettuce. Hi. Hi, my guy. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do, bone. That'll do. I'll make you one more. Alrighty. Oof. Yeah, I'm so glad I put off the plasma donation. Oh shoot, I still gotta get the dog her pills. Good morning, Rizzy. Hi, buddy. My lizard. He's waking up. Still in his half awake, half asleep, kind of grumpy face. I like my cat, who's just like up as soon as I'm awake. Oh, yes. I will. Yeah, it's because you're bed too. We'll give the old stuff. A bit of a medicated diet. I think one of the neatest things about having a bearded dragon, I mean, they sleep 14 hours a day, so that kind of sucks. Not a lot of time. Like, I really gotta select my time I get to spend with the dude very carefully. But they watch you. Like, a bearded dragon has vision that's as good as ours when it comes to color perception and depth and all of this, and they also have heat vision layered on top of it. So, dude watches me all the time. Like, he's always observing my behavior. They're genetically predisposed to watching human behavior and canine behavior. So, how he observes me and my dog Lulabelle is really incredible. And that's part of the reason why I got a bearded dragon, is their intelligence. I don't bother with an animal unless there's a certain level of intelligence. I think what got me interested in them is I heard this study that was done by Australian scientists where they basically determined like they have souls, like that level of consciousness. And I totally believe that Australian scientists would not only come to that conclusion, but conduct a study proving that something has a soul. But then again, they're Australian scientists, so like if you put googly eyes on a rock, they'll be like, oh, look at that little bugger. He's got a soul, eh? So, yeah. And you, as old said, turning her steely gaze toward the cat girl. I think gaze and gaze. I shouldn't be editing while I'm drafting. Much needed. Sure. Okay. Professionally trained. No. Is there a caught you brought to court? I like that because that's a play on words, because he's brought her to court and they're courting, they're engaged. I mean, really, in chapter 1, Arista just said flat out, like, I'm gonna marry him. Let's do it now. And I misspelled subconscious. She made a subconscious nod to Queen Gwendolyn. Nearly fell off the throne. All right. So these last 308 words, awesome. I'm going to go ahead and put those into ChatGPT and see what it tells me as far as grammar checks and pacing and giving me a pat on the back. Boom. This is landing very well politically. The hierarchy is clear. The women are circling each other correctly, and Belane's reaction is a strong seed for later escalation. What it needs now is tightening, sharper aristocratic diction, and removal of a few explanatory phrases that weaken the blade. Court scenes thrive on restraint. The cruelty should feel controlled, not stated. Here's a refined pass that elevates tone and sharpens character dynamics without changing meaning. I was ensuring, Arista said calmly, her voice carrying farther than it ought to, that certain entities understood what was mine alone to claim. Her gaze swept the assembled nobles. For a fleeting instant, disappointment touched her features. Jocelyn was not present. Giselle and Belane were. Both caught the meaning. Their laughter died at once. A thin, venomous glint crossed Belane's eyes. Kind of like that bit. Queen Gwendolyn angled herself toward her husband, attempting to quiet his rising mirth. I don't hate that, but Lady Isolde spoke before the king could recover. Her voice was pitched high and tight, as constricted as the white frilled collar at her throat. Pitched high and tight. I like that. I use the word pitched. As a prince and future husband, it is your responsibility to see that this, she paused delicately, untamed princess you have brought into this court is instructed in our customs. Her gaze cut to Arista. I will not have the household terrorized at whim. It was precisely for this reason I consented to consolidating Miri's services under her, to spare the remainder of the staff from further disruptions. Her gaze cut to Arista, and I gotta watch the use of the word gaze. I like gaze. It's a fun word. I like gays in general. I like anybody who's in touch with the shadow side, their anima or their animus, as the case may be. Okay. So, yeah, I like that bit. I like the pacing of it. As a prince, I'm not supposed to do that automatically. What the hell? Really? M- is supposed to be an automatic thing. Alright. Since it's being stubborn, figure that out later. Boom. Back and work on our spacing. that delicately wild princess you brought to our court. Properly instructed in our customs. Her eyes cut to Arista. I like that. I will not have the household terrorized at whim. It was precisely for this reason I consented to consolidating Mary's services under her to spare the remainder of the staff from further disruptions. Like household at whim. It is precisely for this reason. I like that. It is precisely for this reason. It is precisely for this reason I consented. I like that because precise and consented. So she's putting herself, like, asserting her authority in this situation. Because the thing with Gregarious and Gwendolyn and Isolde and Albrecht is they've been together so long, it's less rank and file, servant master type of relationship and more like family. Like Gregarious is gregarious in how he runs his kingdom. And that, unfortunately, is why many see him as being weak. Gwendolyn, how did I... Jeez. Alliteration much? Boom. That beat works. That beat works really well. Swap that out. At this, Belaine emitted a small, strangled sound, half scoff, half wounded protest. She shot Arista a look of open resentment before turning a sharp, accusing glare upon Miri. Miri shrank instinctively. And you, Isolde, continued, turning the same hard gaze upon the cat girl, her volume rising just enough to compete with the king's intermittent chortling. Are expected to keep your lady informed and composed. It is a rare privilege to serve so closely, even when... Rare privilege to serve so closely, even when one served displays impulsive tendencies. A faint, unconscious nod passed between Isolde and Queen Gwendolyn. I'm going to change the phrasing on that, but a faint unconscious nod. Unconscious is better than subconscious. For sure. Yeah, so I like the meat of that. But we're going to change a faint unconscious nod past from Isolde directed toward Queen Gwendolyn. That was when King Gregarious lost what composure remained. Could contain himself no longer. Are you telling me I need... Yeah, that's what I thought. That no is just fine. A great booming laugh erupted from him, so sudden it startled even himself. He seized at his crown as his body pitched forward, nearly toppling from the throne. Awesome! Got some fresh air? Lurking. Okay. I'm about to wrap up and take a walk myself. Got the critters fed while you were away. And Lou usually won't bother eating breakfast. She'll take her pills, but she won't eat her breakfast until I actually take her out for a walk and maybe put some treats on her food. I just want to end this intro to the chapter. Nearly toppling from his throne. Have I used jovial yet? I like jovial. I like jovial in context with a happy king, because Jove is a combination of Yahweh and Zeus. So like it means kingliness. Jovial eruption was cut short by... His jovial eruption was cut short by a hard cough followed by a desperate wheezing for air, or followed by another. His jovial eruption was cut short by a hard cough, followed by another. And a series of wheezing gasps. shock and dismay. For those assembled around. Like a quell. Whispering murmur circled the room like a quell, ready to drown the two at the center of it, even as the king himself struggled for air. Alright. Take this sloppy paragraph. Give it that ChatGPT edit. This is the pivot. It needs to feel sudden, physical, humiliating, and then politically dangerous within seconds. Right now it's strong, but we can sharpen the sensory detail and clean up phrasing so the collapse feels visceral and the accusation detonates harder. Here's a tightened, elevated pass. His jovial eruption broke abruptly into a harsh cough. Another followed, deeper, tearing at his chest. Then a string of ragged, wheezing gasps that swallowed the laughter whole. The king lurched forward. His crown slipped. He fell from the throne to his knees. Broke abruptly as opposed to was cut short. And I have cutting earlier, so to break is better than to cut in this case. Yeah. Broke abruptly. Abruptly into a harsh cough. Another followed. Deeper this time, tearing at his chest. Wheezing gasps. That swallowed the laughter whole. King lurched forward, his crown slipped, he fell from the throne to his knees. Holding it faintly in place. He fell from the throne to his knees. Gwendolen cried out and stooped to catch him, but the weight of him sagged heavily in her arms. Lady Isolde and Lord Albrecht were at her side in an instant, their earlier severity dissolving into alarm. Servants rushed from every corner of the hall. Courtiers recoiled and leaned forward, then recoiled again. The fuck? No. Barely composed himself. Not looking for like a total collapse, but I'm looking for like a severe weakening. Lady Isolde and Lord Albrecht were at their backs instantly. Servants and courtiers rushed forward. That works. Okay, Garrett stepped forward instinctively, wrist his hand. Clasping his. Don't you come near him with that witch. Elaine's voice cracked through the hall like a whip. She pointed, fierce, shaking, directly at Arista. The word witch hung in the air, obscene and electric. A murmur spread at once, low and hungry. Be a little more blunt. Accusing, rolling outward through the gathered nobles like a tide turning against the shore. Like a whirlpool tugging at a tiny vessel. Even the king fought for breath. Even as the king fought for breath on the marbled floor, the room's attention shifted. While the king struggled for air, at the foot of the throne, the room's attention shifted. Not to him, to her. Okay. And that puts me over 1,000 words. Hallelujah. Here I only set out to do 500. Feeling good about that. I'm into my climax. And I did it without making a no face, so good for me. Whispering Among Themselves, and then Paravol is Sent For is the next section that I'll be writing. But I'm going to call it for this morning because it's 8:51. So I'm so glad I canceled my appointment this morning so I can concentrate on writing. But hopefully I'll be back and I will actually finish this chapter today. That would be awesome. That would be fan-freaking awesome. If I can get into a routine, like I want to finish a chapter a day. I really do. Especially because this book has so many more chapters than I had planned on. Like this section that I'm doing right now originally was going to be 2 chapters. And I realized going in, based on how things have been going down, I had to split it. So yeah, alright. Appreciate y'all stopping in. Oof. I need to walk, stretch, need to get in a workout, build up strength in my back so I can take these long sessions. Yeah, Lou. It's you and me, Lou. Yeah, we're going to do the thing. W-A-L-K, Lou. All right. So, peace out, everybody. Appreciate you. I'll be back later, either doing art or probably more writing. Like I said, really want to get this chapter done today. Like 1 a day. The goal, as far as writing goes, finish this chapter and do my outline for tomorrow, so that's done. Because like I like to have a little bit of time between the outline and the actual draft, so things can marinate. But yeah, I'll be back. Peace.